Have you ever done something in public that seemed small, but later realized it changed how people looked at you? Forever. Today, we uncover 9 things you should never do in public. Lessons straight from the mind of Machiavelli himself. Because power isn't only gained in battle. It's gained in how you behave, when others are watching in the theater of life. Every public space is a stage. And whether you realize it or not, you are always performing, not for applause, but for power. Every glance, every pause, every careless gesture is being weighed and measured by those who watch you. They are not watching for your charm. They are watching for your weakness. The moment you step into the public eye, you enter the domain of perception, where image becomes reality and control becomes survival. So narrator voice deepens. Machiavellian toning, understand this, the world does not judge your intentions, only your appearances. You might mean no harm, you might speak the truth, you might act in innocence. But if your demeanor falters, if your composure slips, the crowd will write a story about you that serves them, not you. And that story, once written, is almost impossible to erase. In public, power belongs to those who understand how to direct the gaze of others. Like a ruler walking through his court, you must know that every step, every silence, every nod carries weight. You may think no one is paying attention, but Machiavelli would tell you otherwise. Someone always is. The powerful are not those who dominate through force, but those who can hold presence in a room without demanding it. Now listen closely. The foolish believe that public spaces are neutral grounds. They laugh too loud, complain too easily, argue too openly. They show their irritation when things don't go their way. But to the cunning observer, these small cracks are open windows into the soul. They reveal impatience, insecurity, and emotional fragility. All the traits a manipulator loves to exploit. In the presence of power, never act as though you've forgotten the audience. Machiavelli teaches that a prince who fails to control his image is soon ruled by it. The same truth applies to you. When you walk into a room, you do not simply exist there. You are interpreted. Your walk, your posture, your tone, they tell others who you are before you even speak. And if you move carelessly, you surrender authorship of your identity to their assumptions. Imagine a ruler who storms into his court shouting orders, red with anger. He believes he is asserting control, but in truth, he reveals desperation. The courtiers whisper, her fears losing command. His enemies smile, because they have just seen his weakness dressed as authority. In contrast, a ruler who enters quietly, whose calm cuts deeper than shouting ever could. He commands without demanding. People bow not to his words, but to the weight of his presence. When you are in public, you too must walk as if every eye is a test of your control. Your composure must be deliberate, your gestures minimal, your silence strategic. It is not about pretending to be someone else. It is about mastering the performance of who you wish to become. The powerful are not authentic, they are consistent. They understand that in the public arena, authenticity is a luxury, but perception is survival. Every great figure, from rulers to thinkers, has understood this silent law. Julius Caesar, before crossing the Rubicon, dined with calm and smiled among his soldiers, hiding the storm within him. Elizabeth I ruled a divided kingdom not through emotion, but through the elegance of restraint. Even Machiavelli himself, when cast out of power, wrote letters dripping with composure to the very men who betrayed him, because he knew that public dignity is the armor of those who cannot yet strike. When you walk among others, remember that every eye you meet is a battlefield of perception. Some will challenge you silently, some will admire you, others will envy you, but none of them should read you completely. The one who reveals all loses control. The one who conceals enough remains unpredictable. And unpredictability is power. A moment of foolish transparency in public can undo years of silent building. Think of the leader who mocks a subordinate, thinking it shows dominance, when in truth it exposes insecurity. Think of the person who argues loudly to defend themselves, not realizing they've already given away the upper hand. In every public moment, the wise person asks, what story are they telling about me right now? And then they shape that story with precision. The stage of power demands one skill above all others: composure under observation, the ability to stand still when others panic, to smile when others attack, to listen when others beg to speak. When you can do that, you no longer move with the crowd, you make the crowd move around you. Public spaces belong to those who understand the subtle art of control through stillness. Machiavelli wrote that men are moved more by appearances than by reality. To him, what matters is not what you truly are, but what they believe you to be. So when you step into the public realm, remember, you are no longer just yourself. You are an image, a narrative, a symbol of your own making. If you do not choose the role you play, the crowd will assign you one. And once they do, you will live under their script, not your own. The first rule of power, therefore, is to treat every public moment as performance. Never let the mask slip. Never allow emotion to dictate your movement. The wise understand that life's greatest battles are fought not with weapons, but with perception. And in that war, control of image is the deadliest sword of all. There is a reason kings never frown in front of their courts, and generals never tremble before their armies. Power is not only in what you command, it is in what you conceal. The greatest mistake ordinary people make in public is believing that emotion is honesty. It is not. Emotion is exposure. It reveals the map of your weaknesses, your fears, your insecurities. And once the world reads that map, it begins to conquer you one reaction at a time. A person who cannot command their emotions in public is a puppet, and everyone who watches them holds a string. The Machiavellian mind knows this composure is not calmness. It is control. To appear calm when chaos brews around you, to smile when insulted, to remain unmoved when provoked. This is not cowardice, it is strategy. For in those moments, you are teaching the world that their weapons cannot reach you. Now imagine two figures standing before a crowd. One grows angry at a single insult. His face turns red. His voice trembles as he tries to defend himself. The other listens in silence, his eyes steady, his expression unreadable. Which one holds power? Which one makes the crowd uncertain, hesitant, curious? Always the second. For nothing terrifies the human mind more than a person who cannot be emotionally predicted. Machiavelli would tell you that the first duty of any ruler, and make no mistake, you are the ruler of your own image, is to master himself before mastering others. Public emotion, whether it is anger, sadness, or desperation, is a confession. It announces to the world that you can be shaken. It tells the sharp-eyed observer exactly where to strike next time. And once they see it, they never forget it. In the grand theater of public life, self-control is your armor. People respect the one who keeps his head when others lose theirs. They may not love him, but they will measure their words around him. They will think twice before attacking. Because composure creates uncertainty, and uncertainty creates fear. Not the loud, violent kind, but the silent kind that keeps others cautious around you. Do not confuse composure with indifference. It is not about feeling nothing. It is about showing only what is useful. The wise man feels deeply, but expresses selectively. He can experience rage without showing it, disappointment without collapsing, desire without begging. The face remains still. The tone remains steady. And through that restraint, he commands the room without speaking a word. When you are in public and something disturbs you, a comment, an insult, a rejection, the urge to react will rise fast. That urge is your weakness trying to escape. If you let it, you have given your opponent the greatest victory. They now control your behavior. But if you master the pause, that brief, deliberate silence before you respond, you shift the power dynamic instantly. The one who reacts is the servant of emotion. The one who waits becomes its master. Think of Machiavelli's prince surrounded by schemers and flatterers, each testing him with words. The foolish ruler responds to every provocation, desperate to appear decisive. The wise ruler listens, nods, and answers only when it serves his advantage. The court begins to wonder what he is thinking. That mystery is his weapon. It turns curiosity into caution. When people do not know what you will do next, they treat you carefully. In your daily life, the same rule applies. You may not wear a crown, but your dignity is your throne. Every time you show too much frustration in public, you chip away at it. Every sigh, every exaggerated gesture, Every complaint weakens the illusion of control that power depends on. And remember, illusion is not falsehood. It is the visible form of authority. It is what the world sees and responds to. The mask of composure is not deceit. It is discipline. It is the understanding that the world rewards those who appear unshakable. Even if inside you are breaking, never let the public see the crack. Let them see steel, not struggle. People are drawn to stability. They follow the one who remains still while others burn. The calm man, the quiet woman, the poised observer, they are the ones others trust when the storm rises. Public emotion, on the other hand, is contagious but costly. The one who cries in public may gain sympathy, but loses respect. The one who argues loudly may win the moment, but loses the room. Every outburst is a confession that your emotions have more authority over you than your mind does. Machiavelli would warn you, the world does not forgive such weakness. It uses it, your silence, your stillness, your ability to smile in discomfort. These are the signals that tell others, I cannot be controlled. And once people believe that, their behavior changes. They become cautious in your presence. They speak softer, they choose words more carefully. They look at you not as a peer, but as a force they must navigate. That subtle shift is where power begins. The public world is not kind. It watches for cracks, waits for slip, thrives on reactions. But if you wear the mask of composure long enough, it becomes more than a mask. It becomes your second skin. The moment you stop defending yourself, stop explaining, stop proving, you become unreadable. And when you become unreadable, you become untouchable. In the world of power, silence is not emptiness, it is strategy. The loud seek attention, but the silent command it. Those who rush to speak reveal their minds, those who wait force others to reveal theirs. Machiavelli understood this truth well. He knew that the most dangerous words are often the ones never spoken. Because silence, when mastered, is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of control. Picture a crowded room. Arguments flare, voices clash, everyone fighting to be heard. And then, one person, still, quiet, watching. No reaction, no defense, only observation. Who do you notice first? Not the loudest, the quiet one? Because silence makes the mind curious. It creates mystery, and mystery creates influence. The wise understand that when you speak less, your words weigh more. When you say nothing, others begin to imagine everything. The common man fears silence because it feels like weakness. He rushes to fill the air, to explain himself, to prove his worth. But every explanation is an exposure. Every unnecessary word is a small surrender of power. When you argue, when you defend, when you over-explain, you give others a glimpse into your insecurity. You tell them you need their approval, their understanding, their validation. And once they know that, they own you. Machiavelli would tell you that silence is the weapon of the strong. It unsettles those who expect reaction. It forces them into confusion, makes them question themselves, and in that uncertainty, they lose ground. To remain silent in the face of provocation is not passive. It is aggressive restraint. It is the art of saying, you cannot move me, without uttering a word. Think of how kings hold court. They speak last, never first. The court buzzes with opinions, alliances, and whispers, and the ruler listens. He studies faces, measures tones, notes who flatters and who hesitates. When he finally speaks, his voice slices through the noise like a blade, because every word has been sharpened by patience. The people hang on to it, not because it is loud, but because it is rare. That is the art of silence, to make your speech so measured that when you choose to speak, it feels like a decree. In public, every silence you hold is an act of dominance. People will wonder what you are thinking, whether you agree, whether you judge. Their curiosity becomes your control. You will notice how the loud try to pull you in, to make you react, to drag you into their chaos. They need your reaction to validate their own emotions. Deny it to them. Watch their energy fade when they realize you are beyond reach. That is the quiet victory. To defeat someone not by speaking louder, but by making their noise meaningless. There is a certain elegance in restraint. The man who remains calm and quiet when insulted does not look weak. He looks superior. The woman who answers rudeness with silence leaves the other person battling their own echo. Silence turns conflict inward. It makes your opponents fight themselves. It creates unease because humans cannot stand the unknown. When you remain silent, you become that unknown, unpredictable, unreadable, untouchable. But silence is not just about withholding speech. It is about knowing when to break it. When you choose to speak, your words must feel deliberate, heavy, precise. They should cut through the air like an arrow. Few but fatal. The loud use 100 words to be heard. The powerful use 5 to command. Every syllable you speak in public should serve a purpose. To reveal authority, to direct attention, or to close a discussion. Anything beyond that is waste. You must learn to be comfortable with pauses. Most people fill them because silence makes them anxious. They think it shows disinterest or ignorance. In truth, it shows control. When you allow silence to stretch, you create tension. And tension is power. It forces others to speak first, to reveal more, to rush into mistakes. Every second you wait is a second they surrender. Machiavelli himself would tell you, "He who controls the tempo of a conversation controls its outcome." The wise also know that silence is not always quiet. Sometimes it is the silence of a steady gaze, the silence of still posture, the silence of a person who listens without interruption. These are not passive acts. They are forms of command. Because attention is a weapon. When you listen, people open themselves up. They reveal their intentions, their fears, their secrets. All while you reveal nothing. Never waste your silence defending your image. The moment you explain yourself in public, you imply guilt. The moment you justify your choices, you lower your status. Let people think what they want. That is their noise. Your silence should say, "I do not owe you an explanation." And in time, they will believe it. People always assume strength in those who do not beg to be understood. The art of silence is the art of patience, the art of mystery, the art of invisible dominance. It does not shout, it whispers. It does not demand, it commands. The one who can stay quiet when every instinct begs to speak has already won. Because silence, when used with purpose, becomes a mirror. And in that mirror, others see themselves exposed, while you remain hidden behind the stillness of control. Reputation is the invisible crown we all wear. You cannot touch it, yet it defines how every person touches your life. It is the reflection of who people believe you are, not who you truly are. And in the world of power, that reflection matters far more than reality itself. Machiavelli knew this deeply. The wise ruler does not waste energy trying to convince people of his nature. He simply shapes the image they cannot resist believing. Every public act, every word you speak, every silence you hold, it all paints your reputation. You are not a person in the eyes of the world. You are a perception. When you walk through the crowd, they see not your soul, but the legend your actions have written. And here lies the danger. One careless act in public can stain that legend forever. You may think people forget, but they don't. They record. They whisper. They build stories. Reputation is fragile not because it is false, but because it lives in the minds of others, and the minds of others are easily poisoned. Machiavelli warned that a ruler should guard his reputation more than his kingdom, for kingdoms can be rebuilt. Reputation cannot. It is the first thing your enemies attack, and the last thing your allies defend. When people lose faith in your image, your words lose their force. Your power loses its weight. Even if you are right, they will stop listening. The world rarely seeks truth, it seeks belief. And reputation is the currency of belief. You must understand that in public, you are always under silent judgment. Every gesture, every tone, every reaction adds a brushstroke to the portrait others carry of you. You might think, "I do not care what they think." But the world cares, and the world decides. Those who underestimate the power of reputation often end up ruled by those who mastered it. The wise never say, "I don't care what others think." They say, "I decide what others think." Consider a leader who is known for composure, even when chaos strikes. His calm presence soothes the crowd. That image, once solidified, becomes his shield. People forgive his mistakes because his reputation protects him. They trust his silence because they believe it hides wisdom. But the leader who is known for anger, for arrogance, for rashness, he can speak the truth and still be doubted, because his reputation speaks louder than his words. Reputation, once earned, becomes self-sustaining. It works while you sleep. It walks into rooms before you arrive. It whispers your name to those who have never met you. That is the power of perception. You no longer need to prove yourself because your reputation does it for you. But this sword cuts both ways. One unguarded moment in public, one outburst, one betrayal, one display of weakness, and that same reputation can turn against you. What once opened doors will begin to close them. The wise, therefore, build reputation as if crafting a masterpiece. Carefully, intentionally, over time. They do not rush to show their greatness. They let others discover it. They understand that mystery fuels admiration. People respect what they cannot fully see. If you wish to command respect, do not let the crowd see every flaw, every emotion, every insecurity. Keep parts of yourself hidden, sacred, unreachable. Let them see only what strengthens your image. In the court of power, reputation is not about morality. It is about mastery. It is not about being good. It is about being believed to be good, or feared enough to be respected. The powerful understand this distinction. They know that perception shapes reality. You may be kind, but if the world perceives you as weak, they will step over you. You may be ruthless, but if the world perceives you as decisive, they will follow you. You must always ask yourself, what image am I creating in their minds right now? Because that image will outlive your words. Even in small public moments, reputation is tested. When insulted, your reaction teaches others how to treat you. When challenged, your composure tells them whether to respect or to exploit you. When praised, your humility or arrogance defines whether you are admired or resented. Each moment adds or subtracts from the silent currency of reputation that governs your future. The fool treats reputation like an accident, something that happens on its own. The wise treat it like a fortress, something built, guarded, and maintained. They know that gossip travels faster than truth, so they never feed it. They know that envy hunts the powerful, so they never appear desperate for approval. They move with intention, speak with purpose, and understand that the echo of one public action can outlast a lifetime. When you master your reputation, you no longer chase validation. Validation chases you. People begin to defend you in rooms you've never entered, to repeat your words in circles you've never walked. Your presence expands beyond your physical body. You become a myth, and myths are untouchable. Machiavelli understood that this was the highest form of power. To create an image so strong that even in your absence, it continues to rule. Every person lives within a story told by others. The difference between the powerful and the powerless is who controls that story. If you do not shape your reputation, someone else will. And when they do, you will live inside their version of you. Their narrative, their judgment, their truth. To live with power, you must take back authorship of your own image. Every action, every word, every silence must feed the legend you wish to become. Because in the end, it is not the real you that survives. It is the reflection they remember. In the end, the art of power is not about force. It is about perception. The world does not move for those who shout the loudest. It moves for those who understand how to shape what others see, think, and feel. Every public moment is a silent test of your control. Every glance, every reaction, every word you choose or withhold adds to the image that defines you. To master this art, you must see yourself as both actor and author. The actor performs before the crowd, but the author writes the story they will tell about him. You must play both roles. The stage of power demands composure, silence, and an unshakable understanding that your reputation is your greatest weapon. The fool exposes himself trying to be understood. The wise hides his depth and lets the world wonder. Never defend yourself in the court of public opinion. Rule it. Never react where others want a reaction, redirect it. Never forget that in the eyes of the world, you are not what you feel, you are what you project. Power does not come from truth, it comes from mastery of appearance. Machiavelli's wisdom was not written for kings alone. It was written for anyone who wishes to command respect in a world ruled by perception. The stage is set, the audience is watching. And the question is no longer whether you will play. It is how skillfully you will perform the role that defines your destiny